so many of our problems. Oh, something bad happened. Well, we should have a regulation. That'll help. And something really bad happened. Well, then you should subsidize me on that, you know. And some of those issues are very easy to understand. Going back to demographics, when you look at the healthcare challenges in this country, they are demographic challenges. When you look at the retirement challenges in this country, they are demographic challenges. You know, when we put Medicare in this country, the average death age was 62. It's now 79. Who's paying for all those people in between? And these are real, serious issues for all of us. And if you look at the families in this country, there's a great angst. You know, somebody told me the other night that any TV show after 10 o'clock at night now, the ratings are going in the can. Why would you be surprised when you have these families that are raising children, and many of them grandchildren, and still caring for their parents, and maybe their grandparents, and 2 workers at least in the family, not too much time for 10 o'clock news. And it is in that environment that we've got to deal with the challenges of this country, and we need to deal with it with the entrepreneurial spirit that for a long period of time made us the envy of the world. And people are still copying what we did, why we've got to go back and find some of it. An unshakable commitment this country has always had to innovate, to improve, and to reshape, and that's what we have to do again. We have to have a confident openness. This argument that says, let's lock up the door and don't trade and don't let people in our country and don't let immigrants in. I mean, get a life. 95% of the people we want to sell something to live somewhere else in the world, and as all these guys get bigger and better and stronger, if we want to lock the door, they're just going to go on without us. And by the way, they got some things we need, like energy and people and other issues and models. So we have to also take a look at our education system. Is anybody in this room proud of the fact that 30% of the kids in this country don't graduate from high school? Now look, today, if you're a high school graduate, we have 8.5%, 9% unemployment, and maybe another 3 or 4 or 5% that aren't looking for jobs right now, and so it's really a higher unemployment. But if you are a high school graduate today, on the unemployment situation, about the unemployment for high school graduates is about equal to the number. The official number, what's it, 8.5? If you are a college graduate, it's more like 4.5 or 5. And if you have a graduate or a scientific degree, you're getting down in the 1s and 2s and 3s. On the other hand, if you don't have a high school diploma, in many places in this country, it's 30% unemployment. How can we sit around and let that happen and think that this nation has a future? And the world-class infrastructure, which we, since Eisenhower built the highway system, and then we built, who had the best airports? Who had the best ports? Now, some of that, by the way, was driven by global conflicts, where we were forced to do this. Who had the best electrical power generation system in the world? Who had the best broadband? But we're not keeping up with lots of people around the world, and that, see that table? That is the infrastructure on which you play the game of community and business and society. And if you don't have a strong infrastructure, you're going to find out that playing that game is not competitive. It's hard to think of a region in this country that has thought longer or harder than the people around here to get a strategy to drive their economy, to fix their infrastructure, to deal realistically with their demographics. Your core strategies and the fix the six deal that's going on around here, you know, I'm going to mail that. I got a hold of it when I'm going to mail that to a whole lot of chambers. They shouldn't all be the same. They shouldn't all have the same core strategy or the same 6 things to fix, because everybody's got different 6 things. But they are fundamental, and that is the rules of employment, the rules of retirement, the rules under which government should behave and society should behave, so that we don't make it impossible for companies to do what they do best. Create wealth, hire people, you know, build communities, put $60, $70 billion a year into philanthropy. And we're making it more difficult to do that, and I really think we could take a bit of an example from this part of the country and learn something. We got to get back to some basics. So in the next few minutes, I run an organization that follows 300 and some issues. You're not going to hear about that from me. I run an organization that's got its own plan of 8 things we're trying to drive. I'll give you some of that. But most of all, I just want to pick out a few things that if we put some time and energy into, and we thought about it, we might make things a little better in this country. So first, let me talk about the fundamental realities of regulation.